of our many Saturday events we offer. We have our seminars, which is every first Saturday, so thanks for being here, and then our cleanups every second Saturday, and then of course our paddles every third Saturday. If y'all are looking for more things to do today, we are going to be at the Fire in the Pines Festival, which is at Halliburton Park. It started at 10, I think, and it'll go to 3. So I'll be there right after this, and so will Kate. So come say hi if you're looking for something to do. They have the public burn at 2, so that should be something really cool to see. And then as always, we are a 501 nonprofit, so we are able to run off support from y'all and the community and our very generous Wilmington people. And then in the back, as y'all came in, we have our donation bin in there, and then we also have a river pledge back there since we didn't have the River Week 2 weekends ago, I believe, or last weekend because of the storm. We just have that as like a pledge people can sign just to show their support. And then so finally, this is JT, and he's going to be talking to us about Feast Down East. But thanks, y'all. I'll let you take it away.
Good morning, everybody. I'm JT. I'm the Food Hub Operations Manager at Feast Down East. Just wanted to thank Cape Fear River Watch for having us today. I haven't been in this room in like 8 years, but I did my internship here, so it's good to be back. So I'm going to be talking about the impacts of local food systems. So Feast Down East is a 501c3 nonprofit as well. The mission that we do is we try to support farming communities as well as tackling food insecurity in areas such as Wilmington. We also do some work in Brunswick County, Pender County, and sometimes Duplin. Half of what we do is the mobile market. I just want to shout out, we actually have one of our mobile market employees back here, Adrian. They operate year-round, and their routes include public housing sites, local businesses, educational, community, and medical centers. They have 2 kind of routes. They do the mobile market, and then they have the mobile market that is partnered with Novant, and it's their food as medicine routes. With that, people can go to the Novant clinics and actually get vouchers for buying food, which is pretty cool. So instead of getting a prescription, you can get fresh, healthy food. That could probably help ail the thing that may be bothering you. So I think that's pretty cool. They address food apartheid and access to seasonal, healthy, nutrient-dense foods among populations experiencing food insecurity. They also accept SNAP, EBT, and double up fresh bucks in North Carolina. So if you were to go to the mobile market and you had all these things, let's say you only wanted to spend $25, you'd actually be able to get $50 worth of food. So that's pretty dang cool. You can't really do that at the grocery store. And I just wanted to throw this up here. They do a ton of markets. A lot of them are in the downtown area, so if you guys are ever interested, this is also on our website, but you should check them out sometime. Again, they sell everything at cost. So definitely worth checking out. The other side of what Feast Down East does is the Food Hub. That's where I work. It's based out of Burgaw. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Burgaw, but there's a big old historic train depot up there. The 2 boxcars in the back are actually, they've been converted into like walk-in coolers. So farmers drop off there every week, and we fill up those coolers with some fresh seasonal veggies and fruits and meats and all, and then we distribute them to a lot of the restaurants downtown. We work with UNCW, Cape Fear Community College. We work with Whole Foods, Tidal Creek, Northside Food Co-op, so spread a little bit everywhere. Wanted to go back. We do, since this is Cape Fear River Watch, I know you guys probably do not like large-scale agriculture. We understand that CAFOs are not really great. We only work with small and medium-sized farms, so if you guys are familiar with like Tidal Creek Farmers Market, those are about the size farms that we're working with. What we do is try to help them with market access, technical assistance, and just business marketing. So let's say they need a new logo made, or they need help incorporating like Stripe or some other type of point of sale system onto whatever they're trying to sell. We have a marketing team that can help with that. We help make logos. They can even make a website. Brandon is our marketing guy. He has helped a lot of our farmers like from the ground up completely make their websites and all. So it's pretty cool. But again, only small and medium. So we only work with the little guys here. Some of the other things we do with farmer resources, we have a farmer scholarship program that we get to do usually about twice a year. This is grant dependent, but that is one of my favorite things that we do. So farmers kind of do like a application per se. It's pretty easy, but they can use this on pretty much anything other than labor. So we've had farms use it on help get supplies for beekeeping, like if you need a bee suit or you need some more boxes. We've had farmers get roadside stands, or not roadside stands, the sign for a roadside stand. That might not seem like something that you need. Cost a couple $100 to put out though, and if that's not there, people don't know you're there. They can use it for fertilizer, soil, whatever it may be. So we do that, and we've done 5 rounds so far. So that's helped out a lot of farmers. We also do workshops and technical assistance. So throughout the year, we try to partner up with various cooperative extension. We'll work with sometimes UNCW. I'll bring in some farmers to try to give expert advice, but we do various things. Our next one's going to be December 4th, and we're doing pasture-raised pork. So anyone that's a small, medium-sized farmer that's interested in anything pasture-raised pork, we'll be having that. We're doing that with NC Choices and Pender County Extension. So that'll be a good one. Some of the other things we've done is like beekeeping. We'll try to teach people about post-harvest handling and food safety. So each one's different. Again, we do the business planning and marketing. So website logos. We help procure packaging. That's one thing a lot of people don't realize. If you ever buy wholesale, produce has to come in wax boxes. Each one of those guys ranges from like $1.50 up to like $3.30, and if those are resold like with a markup, that really like cuts into the farmer's cost. So we go up to this place up in Clinton. It's called ProAg, and we buy like bulk packaging at cost and sell it at cost to the farmers so that they can pay as little as possible for that. We also do refrigerated vehicle rentals. If a farmer ever needs to like rent one of our box trucks, and let's say they have like a bumper crop sometime in the summer and they have like a ton of stuff they got to bring to market, they can rent a vehicle from us. And then I also work on a monthly newsletter that has grant opportunities and infrastructure programs for farmers. So that goes out once a month, and it just shows them pretty much everything that's going on. We'll throw in like conferences and workshops in there as well. So how it works, every Friday we reach out to all of our farmers. We did this yesterday, and every single week it's going to change. We see what they have available that week and what quantities they are. That'll go onto our online marketplace, and then over the weekend, so from Friday afternoon until Monday at noon, all of our customers have the opportunity to shop online. We send out lists on Monday to our farmers, and then they drop off Tuesday and Wednesday. Wednesdays and Thursdays we do our deliveries, and then it all starts over again. So it is like a cyclical or a week cycle. And every week we have brand new things, so it's pretty cool. Here is what it looks like online. So it's kind of like shopping on Amazon or whatever you might have. I tried to make it as easy as possible. We used to send out PDF lists. That was a nightmare. But it is pretty cool. One thing I really pride ourselves on is all of our farmers actually name their prices. We don't tell them what they're going to sell their products for. I don't know what their input costs are, what their labor is, how far they had to drive to drop off to Burgaw, what fertilizers they may use. So they get to name their price so they don't lose any money. And then we list stuff for them, and we do all the deliveries and logistics. This helps a lot of the farmers, or most of the farmers actually have more time to be on the farms. Since they are all small and medium sized, they usually don't have too much staff. Some of the farms we work with, it's like 1-2 person operations. Some people are lucky and have like 5 to 8 people that work there, but the more folks you have actually on your farm, the more you can farm. So if they don't have to deal with all this, it's a lot better for them. Another part of that website is actually a Meet Your Producer page. So you can go on here and you can click on all the different producers that we work with. This will show you, some of them have like bios. It'll tell them why they picked their farm name, what got them into farming, the practices that they use, whether that be like organic, pesticide-free, conventional. So if you're ever interested in buying anything from us, I do highly recommend kind of going in here and checking out who your farmers are. It's good to get a story with what's behind the food you're eating there. This is our impact report for 2024. So I'm not going to read that off to you guys, but we do have a pretty small staff, and I feel like we make a pretty big impact in the community. We do only work with farms within about 100 miles of Burgaw, so all of this is just coming from what the Food Hub and the mobile market have done. So last year we did over $2 million in sales. It's pretty significant. This is also on our website too, if you're interested. I just wanted to also shout out some of our best and most loyal restaurants. I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with some of these names. I want to say almost all these are downtown, other than Greenhouse and UNCW. But all these folks do take pride in their products, and they do like to source local. So if you're ever looking for a good farm-to-table restaurant, I highly recommend any of these. So buying local, it stays within the community. The products you get are fresher, high quality, and more nutrient dense. Most of the nutrients in your food are gone within about 36 hours of it being picked. So if you can get them as fast as possible, the more healthy they are going to be for you. And like I said, farmers drop off on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We do deliveries on Wednesdays, so sometimes we are sending out food that was picked that morning or the night before. And it's not often you can actually get something other than at the farmer's market that's only a day old. Buying local also helps with resiliency, such as crops diseases, avian flu. Last year that was really bad. A lot of folks weren't able to get eggs, or the eggs that they could get were like $9 or something crazy. We don't do that kind of stuff whenever that happens. Again, the farmers name their prices, so if they have to go up, we will go up. But last year and earlier this year, when avian flu was really bad and everyone was selling eggs for like $9, we were still selling them for the same price we do. It's about like $5 to $8. So that really helps. One thing people don't realize too much, other than you guys, because you probably know about CAFOs, if you do raise all of your animals all together, if one of them gets sick, they do have to cull the whole flock. That might be like 1 million birds. That's a pretty big loss. Again, with the small and medium-sized farmers, they don't have nearly that size. If they were to have to cull, it would be way less. But thankfully, a lot of the times too, these diseases won't end up on the smaller farmers or on the smaller farms. Also, natural disasters. We do work with farms pretty much from Brunswick County up to just south of Virginia. As you guys know, we live in a place that is very often impacted by hurricanes. They also hit very localized areas. So even if a farm were to be tore up somewhere in like New Hanover or Brunswick County, a lot of the other farms that we work with are still like pretty safe. This helps us with especially like sourcing for the mobile market and all. One other thing, during natural disasters, we open up all of our cold storage to farmers. So instead of them having to worry about trying to keep everything cold, or if they have pork or chicken products, they can come up to the food hub, drop everything off, and then they can actually use, if they have generators or whatever, they can like use that on if they still need irrigation, or if they want to keep like their lights on at their house instead of just trying to keep all the food nice and food safe. Sustainability is another thing. So less distance traveled, that's going to be less gas that's being used, and diversity in soil health. A lot of our farmers too like to plant stuff that is more native to the area and diversify their farms. This helps with soil health. It also helps with erosion loss. And one other thing that we do is crop planting. So since we do work with smaller farmers, they usually might have a little area on their farm that they're not using, or they'd like to do something else there. That's one cool thing about being smaller, is I can go and talk to the chefs and see what they're interested in getting. And let's say a chef from Benny's or whatever might be like, hey, I want like purple asparagus. I can tell one of our farms, or a couple of our farms, we have like a customer that's interested in this, and they will be willing to buy that like every week that you'd be able to provide it. So it's pretty neat. It's not often, like I don't get to really go to the grocery store and tell them like, I want this. That is within reason. Again, we only source locally, so if you wanted like pineapples or something, we're not going to be able to really help you out there. Maybe in a couple of years, but not now. One other thing that we do is we try to reduce food waste as much as possible. So with that little week cycle thing that I had going on there, everything that we order every week, it is exactly what was purchased from the customers. So at the end of the week, our walk-ins are completely empty, other than things that we keep in inventory, such as like eggs and pecans. The mobile market also donates past peak produce to food pantries and unsellable meats to the Raptor Center. So pretty much, and spoiled moldy produce also gets composted. So pretty much nothing goes to waste. Other food hubs, operate differently. I went to a conference earlier this year, and they said if you've seen one food hub, you've seen one food hub. Every single one's different. So some of them do buy stuff in bulk, like they would just buy pallets of strawberries. We don't do that just because we don't want to waste anything. If a farmer does have excess, we do try to work with the food bank and try to get that excess out. So I did want to tie it all together, kind of. So I know you guys are more focused on the river here. So I did want to bring in how farming and like water systems are all connected. One of the main things with that would probably be growing practices. So most of the farms we work with, I would say, are more into regenerative farming, and that is not something we have pushed on them. It's just something the market has kind of naturally wanted. For a long time there, I would say conventional farming was the largest, most accessible kind of thing. But especially with small and medium-sized farms, they have the ability to actually have a lot more crops instead of just doing like all soybeans, all corn, what it may be. And if you guys have gone to like Tidal Creek Farmers Market, you can tell that almost everyone there is either non-certified organic, or just pesticide-free. And that is a majority of our farms. We also work with farms that are animal welfare approved from Greener World. I would say all of the pork that we have and all the chickens we have are pasture raised. And we also work with some hydroponic, aeroponic, and silvopasture farms. I would get right there, actually. One thing I did want to say about certified organic and non-certified organic, if you don't see an actual like organic certification label on something, that doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't grown pretty much the same way. There's a lot of fees involved with getting certified, and a lot of these fees come with a lot of paperwork as well. So if you are a smaller farmer, this can really impact your bottom line at the end of the year. Thousands and thousands of dollars will actually go towards a certified or organic certification, and then you pretty much have to have somebody like on staff that's constantly maintaining that certification. So again, how I was saying, a lot of the farms we work with are non-certified organic. They're pretty much grown the exact same way. They just don't have the label on it. So I just kind of want to put that out there. I don't feel like a lot of people like really understand that. And again, I put a little asterisk down here next to pesticide free. Even organic stuff does get sprayed. It's kind of impossible not to spray stuff unless you want like bugs to eat everything. I tried to do it this year in my gardens. It's very hard. Something's going to get it, I promise. Even if you wait until it's like perfectly ripe, like something will eat it. So there are like, it's called OMRI, and it is what the certifying or the organic certifying bodies said that like you can actually use. And these are like sprays that are healthier. You still want to wash your produce. You always want to wash your produce. I don't care if you grew it yourself. But yeah, so they're safe. They're not like spraying stuff like Monsanto and all is on there, but they are still spraying things on there because at the end of the day, the bugs and the birds and all will eat everything. Now, if you actually don't really want to spray anything, you can do what this guy does. I don't know if you guys have ever seen anyone grow inside of a cargo unit, but this is actually down in Monkey Junction. This is Dave. He is with Cape Fear Greens, and he does hydroponics. It looks like kind of a madhouse in there. Actually, I want to go to this next picture. So that's what it looks like on the outside. And these are all the sensors that he has going into it. So there is benefits and disadvantages to growing like this. He has complete control over this environment, which is pretty cool. Not often a farmer can say they can have that. He's never really going to have to worry about like a natural disaster. He does have a generator on here. He doesn't really have to worry about insects or anything, so he doesn't spray. But everything is inside, and that is very limiting. A larger farm couldn't operate like this, but all he does is lettuce. So that would be considered hydroponics. He has, you can see those little trays on the bottom there. He has water and a bunch of nutrients just running through everything. There's also a type of growing called aeroponics, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Greenhouse restaurant over off Military Cutoff, but they actually grow aeroponics, and there's absolutely no soil in the bottom. It's kind of similar to hydroponics, but like the roots just kind of like hang there and they'll get like watered like once a day. So those are two ways of growing without soil. Just want to show you guys some of our meat producers as well. I feel like they get left out sometimes. This is actually on Change and Ways farm. That's another Dave, but he comes to the farmer's market, and that is his farm up in just north of Hampstead. But his chickens actually get to run around and live in the woods. It's pretty cool. So he's not actually AWA certified. I meant to put that on the next one. That'll be grassroots meat and feed, but he does do pasture-raised chickens and pork. So again, they get to just kind of walk around outside and eat the grasses and the flowers and the bugs. He does keep them in chicken tractors to move them around, but that's it. This is the other farm I was talking about, grassroots meat and feed. She has the prettiest eggs I've ever seen in my life. They come in like so many colors. I didn't even know there was that many colors of eggs at first. I thought there was just like white and brown. But whenever you get these, they're so much tastier. The yolks are like so much darker. If you go and buy eggs from like Costco or whatever, you'll crack it open and it'll be like a light pale color. These are like almost orange. With that, you get so much more vitamins and minerals. They've got like omega-3s as well. Going to silvopasture. This is Piney Woods Farm. He's out in Burgaw. And silvopasture is raising livestock underneath a tree canopy. So what he's done is tried to keep the natural ecosystem of the Eastern Plains. So all he has out there is grasses growing underneath longleaf pines. His cows are grass-fed and grass-finished. One really cool thing about his farm is he has created like the natural ecosystem again, and it has brought back endangered species. So he has fox squirrels, cockaded woodpeckers. He's got some types of birds out there that are also endangered, but it's pretty cool. I don't feel like people really think that you can have like an ecosystem in a farm all in one, and he has successfully done that, and he has 400 acres out there. So in essence, he almost has like a preserve that's also like a farm. Some other types of conservation practices include cover cropping that reduces soil erosion and increases soil health. Forest farming, that is growing underneath the forest canopy, such as mushrooms. Field borders, they attract pollinators and increase wildlife habitat. And rotational grazing, which is moving livestock from field to field to allow vegetation to recover. That is what he's doing there as well. We took a farm tour out there, and I think every 2 weeks he will rotate where his cows are. Every single one of his pastures is gorgeous. This is forest farming on Redbeard Farms. So what he has here is mushroom logs, and I think he's got about half an acre of those back in there. I think he's got like 1,000 piles of logs, but another really cool example of how you can keep all the trees in a natural setting while also like farming there. Whenever all those mushrooms come out, that is a good day for him. Those are expensive little guys. This is one I didn't cover, but I just wanted to show you guys. 2 weeks ago, we went out to Ultra Cross Farms in Ivanhoe. It's like west of Burgaw. Am I saying that right? You guys are kind of from out there. How would you guys think that they do organic weed control on this farm? So these are all blueberries. That's a good guess, actually. That's what I would have thought. Anyone else? They use a hoe. Yeah. They have 40 acres of blueberries, and everything you see in there in between each bush, they have to remove by hand. So that is one thing I just kind of wanted to point out. They also have to come out here. If you can see those little like white dots around the field, they actually don't use those to water the blueberries. Blueberries are pretty good. They use it for frost. And they will stay out there all night on nights that it's supposed to frost. Literally be out there at 3 in the morning making sure that none of those are frozen over, so that whenever the sprinklers turn on, it'll keep all the blueberry bushes from freezing. So when you see like a pint of blueberries at the farmer's market and you're like, that's a little expensive, again, everything they do is by hand, and they're up all night trying to do this just so we can have some fresh blueberries. So a lot goes into it. There's some hardworking people. And then I wanted to tie it all home with some current work we're doing with the Southeast Aquatics Fund. They are part of the Croatan Institute, and we're working on Soil Wealth Areas Initiative. They're working with a couple food hubs across the state. In this part of the state, Feast Down East, that's us. High Country Food Hub is up in Boone. And then they're also working with Working Landscapes, and they're up towards Virginia. But they have targeted certain river areas. No, it's on the next one. The Cape Fear, the Neuse, and the PD river basins. So with that, they're trying to get farmers to help the watersheds pretty much. And what we're going to be doing is providing conservation technical assistance and outreach. That'll happen through workshops. We're also drafting conservation and forest management plans and assisting with enrollment in NRCS and Farm Bill conservation programs that implement climate-smart agriculture and forestry and best management practices. They're doing this to reduce runoff, pollution, and sediment in freshwater systems in North Carolina. As you all know, yeah, the Cape Fear is pretty dirty. So with the small and medium-sized farmers we're working with, we're trying to do what we can to make sure they're not adding to the filth that's already in there. You can see the map. So that's us. They're also doing some work down in Texas and Georgia and Alabama. They want to improve and maintain riparian watershed function, protect surface and groundwaters from nutrients and avoiding erosion, increase riparian herbaceous covers, and forest buffers. They also want to reduce aquatic temperature through shading, restore floodplain hydrology, including low-tech process-based restoration methods, restore rare or declining natural communities, and improve grazing practices, including rotational grazing. So kind of like I was saying with the silvopasture, he is one of the farms we're targeting for this. He has 400 acres and he has livestock out there. He's already kind of doing some of this stuff just with the rotational grazing and silvopasture, but we are going to try to get a best management practice out there so we can even make his farm like more, I don't know, the word there would be. Yeah. We just want to make sure that like none of the bad stuff from his farm is getting into any of the water. A lot of areas right around there, there's a bunch of fingers of the Northeast Cape Fear River. So we want to make sure everything that goes back into the river is things that are supposed to be in the river. Yeah, so that's all I have. So thank a farmer today, and thank you guys. You got any questions? Oh, lots of questions. You were first.